Guys, welcome to an episode of Enthusiasm that only the strongest of heart can stomach. Because here we are, it's October. We're not watching Christmas movies, we're watching Halloween romance comedy movies. I didn't even know this was a thing. Joe and I bonded over Christmas movies. I feel like Cy and I even bonded over Christmas movies, but only as recently as 2 weeks ago did I realize that Hallmark, the company that has made so much money on romantic Christmas movies, so much so that there have been all these like spin-offs and rip-offs, and there's all these other companies making them, so much so that Joe has an entire podcast where he watches a Christmas movie every day. And he did this for several years and told me that he hadn't even seen any Hallmark Christmas movies. I was like, how?
No, the vast minority of them were Hallmark. There was a lot of knockoffs, a lot of generic soda versions of Hallmark movies, but the vast minority, I probably could count on two hands the number of times I've seen a proper Hallmark movie.
Which is wild, right? That's for me, that's wild because those are the ones, those were my gateway drug to the to the genre, such that it is. Um, People who know me, I generally am not someone that like talks about guilty pleasures, but this definitely falls into the guilty pleasure category for me because I know that these are not great movies. I know that they're very cookie cutter. I know at this point they're probably written by AI, but I love them all the
I didn't even
same.
think about that.
I love them all the same. Ever since I was probably late 20s, early 30s. I got really sick one year and I was like holed up on a couch and I just marathoned all these Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel.
Christmas is almost here, and on the Hallmark Channel, we won't let you forget it with our countdown to Christmas. From the people who bring you one-sentence greeting cards comes 21 full-length original Christmas movies coming this December.
Ever since then, like they've all
You
kind of
were
blurred
hooked.
together. They were a little hallucinatory, but I don't know. There's no going back after that. Now I'm kind of like a kind of an addict.
Yeah, and I feel like you found like a niche in that. Like you like those destination movies too.
With all new original movie premieres.
Go to Italy.
Alone?
Set in the most breathtaking destinations on the planet.
I can't believe I got this for €1.
Passport to Love. All month long. Only on Hallmark Channel.
Well, those are the new ones, right? Yeah, the destination travel romance movies. Those I learned about over the summer, right? Because that's what I didn't realize that like the Hallmark Channel existed outside of November through January. Because that's the only time I'd ever seen these movies. That's the only time I even think to watch these movies. But then like I guess ads start popping up, and now I've got the Roku channel and things like that. So things that would pop up and be like, huh, what's that? Oh yeah, I guess the Hallmark Channel wants to keep our juices flowing all year round with the romance. And what
It
better
was
time
actually,
for romance
I
than the
was just going to
fall?
say, it was actually promotion for the Hallmark Winter Wonderland of Christmas movies. They sent a flyer in the mail, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. And it was that I was like, I can't believe there's this many movies. Because it was just like basically a movie every day. And that's what gave me the idea to do the podcast, because there were simply so many movies that they were advertising for the upcoming season.
Right. They produce like at least a minimum of three a year, possibly now up to five, which is because it's become this huge industry. And now they're trying to take over the whole year. And in a way, it makes sense. Like as someone who loves Halloween, most people love Halloween as much as they love Christmas. And I don't know, statistically speaking, isn't autumn considered like one of the more romantic times of year? Like for people to kind of
Oh,
get
the fall harvest festivals.
exactly. And now with all this sort of pumpkin latte and
And
spice,
this is my jam.
the pumpkin, is that your jam? All
Yeah,
things pumpkin?
yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. It's a tiny one. Um, I had a hard time picking which one for us to watch because I wanted to dive in. I wanted to explore this world of Christmas, oh, sorry, Halloween movies. And I wanted to find one that was like, one of the early ones. And this
Yeah, this
movie,
one was what, 2015, right?
2015, we are going to discuss a movie called October Kiss.
He needs a nanny.
Can I help you?
I think I'm supposed to be helping you.
And Poppy's practically perfect.
You guys want to go have some fun?
Just in time for the most bewitching holiday of the year. Ashley Williams and Sam Jagger.
He's cute. He's my boss.
A Hallmark Channel Fall Harvest original movie.
Which stars Ashley Williams, which I saw her face and I was like, I must have seen some Christmas movies with her. I'm
She's a New Yorker from Westchester.
in real life or in
Yeah.
like half the movies that she's in.
No, she's from Westchester, New York.
Okay, so she represents. I didn't know her by name, but I definitely knew her face. She's in a lot of these movies because that's kind of the thing too, is a lot of these movies they use the same actors over and over again.
It's like a new studio system.
Yeah, it is like, yeah, right. It's like the classic.
It's like you get a
days of
10
Hollywood.
picture deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't have scripts yet, but we're gonna find something for you to do. And now I guess you can spread out and do Halloween movies as well. When I looked at the poster for October Kiss, I think they made it seem a little spookier than the film actually is. And I will say, getting back to the kind of like cardboard cutout of these movies, this could have been a Christmas movie. I feel
Well,
like
that's what I was going to say. Here's the thing.
almost
I think
everything.
you've now been introduced to the concept of a Christmas movie that's not really a Christmas movie. This is a Halloween movie that's not really a Halloween movie.
Guys,
There's,
it's
you
the
know,
Fall Harvest Fest movie. Let's be clear about that.
well, I mean, they do anchor everything around the impending Halloween.
Right.
But if you take that, you could swap that out with any holiday or other tradition.
Valentine.
All the beats leading up to it, and
Yeah,
then the ultimate.
they treat Halloween like it's Christmas. Like the way that people get excited about Halloween in this doesn't feel true to how people get excited about Halloween. Like they're not excited about scaring people and like getting, the scary stories and stuff. They're like, it's the cookies and the like making memories and like they just talk about it and the music, like there's no spooky music in this. Like the music is the same exact kind of like sort of wispy, like romantic Christmas music. They just took the chimes out. There's not even like bones rattling or like church bells or
No.
like, cats screaming. There is, but okay, we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Let's dive in proper.
Let's start at the beginning.
Let's
Well, if we're
dive
starting at the
in.
beginning,
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
we have to start with the first shot of the movie, which is a shot of the Space Needle. And
So we're in
that
Seattle.
is the
That's the Seattle Space
only-
Needle.
the only time that any sort of graphical location, a geographic location is mentioned at all.
Which we all know that these movies are all filmed in Vancouver. So
In the summer.
in the summer. My first note was that this movie is basically The Sound of Music without the music and a much smaller family.
I
But
didn't think that.
structurally, it's a similar idea. So we are introduced to our Maria Van Trapp, whose name is Ashley Poppins. No, I'm sorry. She's
Her name is
Poppins.
Poppy.
Poppy. That's right. I keep
Yes,
calling her
but
Poppins.
that's why I thought she was more Mary Poppins.
Right. That's what I think the writers.
Because her name is Poppy.
Right. I think that's what the writers were going for. I kept calling her Mary Poppins when I was making my notes, which I was glad to hear all of you wrote some notes while watching this because, guys, this is the main reason why I'm happy to have this podcast and to talk to you guys specifically is because more than any other programs that I watch, I talk to the television when watching these Christmas movies. Like, I'm like, the way that people are like, no, don't go in there. I say, shut up, like to every single character when I'm watching Christmas movies. It drives me crazy.
Oh
As
my
much as I love
goodness.
these things, and this is why I say guilty pleasure. these people piss me off so much when I watch these movies that I'm like talking to the TV. So I'm glad to be able to have some people who care about this stuff as much as I do.
So, did you like that whole I'm a quirky character, Poppy is clueless,
She
like I'm
can't keep a
doing
job.
yoga and pizza making and I suck at it?
Right. And but it's so cute, right? Because she's so cute.
We open on her giving a yoga class and
Yes.
being demonstrably bad at it.
Right. She's like one of her students like basically takes over for her because she's like, look, you don't know how to do this.
And she
She's
just
like
slinks
she's like trying to
away.
talk yoga terms, but she's like saying like Harry Potter spells. She's like avacadabra
Avada Kedavra.
or something like
Asnasanata, Ananana, Anjaneyasana, Anjaneyasana.
That's the thing that got me. Is she just straight up left? It's not just that she let
No,
God,
somebody else take over.
she slinked away.
Snake.
She slinked away
yeah, she did the
because it
word.
was
Yeah.
so bad.
She left, and then we cut immediately to her tossing pizza dough in a pizza parlor.
Right.
She does it seemingly fine twice,
Well,
but
it's
then
hard
the
to
third
it's hard to
time,
tell because she because here's the thing about her. For people who have never seen this actress, she's a very photogenic, very smiley, happy kind of like she I dare I this is a controversial statement. A
oh,
lot of these Christmas movies, I feel like the lead actresses, it's almost I'm gonna get canceled for this. It's almost like a minstrel show for white women because they're like the whitest women. They're like over the top, like, just sort of like
Super bubbly.
super bubbly white girls. Um, and look, I fall in love with every single one of them. There's not a single one of these women that I don't have a huge crush on. So look, I get it. I like quirky girls. That's my thing. It's like
That sort of thing.
that's half of, look, I'm watching these movies for the cute girls, for the decor porn, because a lot of these sets are so beautifully decorated with all the seasonal accoutrement.
well, so I get that, and I agree with you. And I've watched so many Christmas movies, and I know exactly what you're talking about. In this case, I was kind of agitated with her early on because she's at this pizza parlor, and the movie wants us to think that she's bad at this or
Right.
that she quits in the face of struggle. She barely does anything wrong, and she just quits. And immediately her boss hits on her,
Yeah.
and she's like, "No," and she walks away. So I'm not sure what we're supposed to derive from that
It's too much going on in one
because,
scene.
Well, he's
yeah,
like, you're quitting so I can take my shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
and she says no, but I think that's supposed to feed into our view of her as someone who doesn't want to commit, but it doesn't
Well,
really
Well, no,
fit with
Joe.
everything.
no, but
Is that
think
our
about how
conclusion? Is
that
that the
scene sets up
screenwriters?
to the next one, where immediately after that, she's on this
Date.
blind date and she bails before they get to the car.
That
Yeah.
guy
I had
was a
to watch that
maniac.
scene. Like I had to rewind that like 3 times to even make sense of what was happening in that scene.
This
He
is what
was a
happens.
little, ooh,
They leave. She asks what the plan is for the evening. He describes some Italian restaurant and then says, and tomorrow I was thinking we'd have breakfast with my mom. And I thought, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and the kicker, you can
he's like,
try on her
what's
size 2 wedding dress.
yeah, what size are you? You might fit into her wedding dress. And I wondered, how many dates have they been on? That doesn't make any sense. And this is when people behave in a way that
They're
I
leaving the
find hard
house.
to engage with. I find that hard to engage with because this is nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
And
The
immediately
reality's already been broken. Well, look, I can go along with that. Like I can go along with, oh, she ended up on a date with this like really crazy intense guy. That's fine. But then you mentioned the word commitment. They're using these scenes to lay the track for what they think is the theme of this movie, which is this woman just can't commit. And it's her problem. And that's my other big thing about these Christmas movies. And it's a Christmas movie. They are filled with guilt trips. They love to make these women feel bad about stuff, and they
But
want you
guys,
to.
she dodged a nutty candy corn. That was a good thing.
She goes inside, and her sister is like, "Oh, you're already done with the date?"
Yeah.
And instead of saying, "You don't understand," he asked me my size for a wedding dress, and we're literally 10 steps out of the house. Instead, she just chalks it up to like, "Well, I don't want that guy." And her sisters are laying into her about, not being commitment phobic and being like their commitment phobic mother who's always out and about. And this really stings Poppy. As if there's any veracity to what's being told to her. Like, that guy was crazy.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're like they got lost in the comedy of that scene undercuts whatever message they're trying to build and sort of set up for her character because of course we're going to empathize with her. Of course we're going to be like, yeah, no, she shouldn't go out with
Yeah,
that guy.
but
No way.
that immediately they segue right into that heartwarming scene where Poppy is the fun aunt.
Right.
And oh
But
my
they have to
God.
really put a nail on it by making her. I think she literally says something like, "I'm not good at anything," or like, they're like, "Oh, well, what? You don't commit to anything. You're not good at anything." But then, yes, the children beckon and they call, and then we see that this is her calling, I guess. Even though, how old is she? Do we know how old she is? Because
Oh
there's
my
jokes
gosh,
about her
don't
age.
get started on the ages because that gets revealed midway through, and I was like, you lie. You're like, he's 34 and she's 28. Mm,
So what was the deal with that? Because she's not 28.
No,
I
I
don't
think
know how
she's
old
supposed
she
to.
is.
I think she was supposed to at least be 30. But there is a running joke about like the kids thinking she's older or saying she's older, and then eventually when they warm up to her, spoiler, then they kind of say, "Oh yeah, she's actually 28," which is younger than she is, because then she's like, "Oh, I got to give her like a high five for compliment, for the compliments or whatever."
But they make a big deal about that.
Yeah,
Well, and also he makes a big deal about how old he is. It was just a whole weird thing about age out of nowhere.
right. Yeah, and it just plays to the guilt trip of it all, because time's a ticking. She's got to get going. Um,
yeah, because she doesn't have her life together. And so, her sister has to help her out and sets up this job for her with this widower who needs help.
Right. So the scene that Sai mentions, that shows that she's like super aunt, I guess. Really what it reveals to me is that like she's just basically a big kid. Like she knows how to play like kids play, and that seems to be the one thing that she's good at. And even in the pizza scene, that's like my note was that she's throwing out the pizza like she's just having a great old time, and that's why she's not good at it because she's just like enjoying herself too much, and she's like almost too playful and too she's just got too much whimsy going on, and that's
She's
kind
not
of like
adulting. She's
right.
not
She's
adulting.
not good at being an adult, but she's
Uh,
great with kids.
well, in that scene specifically, the kids are acting up. They're fighting over a sword. So she gets the idea to make them a shield out of a pillow and aluminum foil.
Sure.
She then gives them direction to go take down a dragon. She goes back to her sister, and her sister's like, "You're so good with the kids. You're just amazing with the kids." Within a minute, 30 seconds maybe, the kids finish their playtime. They walk over, they say, "We took out the dragon. Thank you so much, Aunt Poppy." They sit at the table and they start eating dinner. There was no call to the dinner table. There was no announcement that the food was ready. This all just happened without any direction.
Yeah.
They just were playing and then they walked over and food was on the table. And I was blown away by that.
Dude, there's another scene that I'm gonna save that, like pin that because I'm gonna build off yours because yes, this happens a couple of times in this movie.
There's just so much shorthand that the movie
Yes.
does not
They got to keep
set
it
up.
moving. They got to keep it moving. Speaking of moving and grooving, so like you said, she gets recommended. Her sister hooks her up. Her sister's like, I know a guy who's got some kids. They need a nanny. You're great with kids. Like, you should take this job. And the next scene we see is her rolling up to this family's house in her convertible. And she's wearing like a
She's
beautiful,
so carefree. She's
she's
not
got a
an
let.
adult.
Is that what it
She's
is? Because
living the life.
right. Okay. Yes. You're probably right that that's the writer's intent. But I just took it as this girl's got money. Like she's living in her sister's house. She's like crashing in her sister's house. She can't keep a job, but she's got this convertible. She's dressed gorgeously. Like she's wearing this beautiful, expensive leather jacket. Her hair is styled. Like,
I
I
have
don't
a note
know.
about her income level later on in this movie that I'll
Yes,
just go
and
ahead.
I
I'll
know
just bring it.
exactly what you're talking
I'm
about.
just going to bring it forward now because I don't want to forget it. She eventually takes these kids she's going to meet Halloween decoration shopping,
Yep.
and she buys
I have a
so many
party soon.
decorations. And she buys so many decorations, and we see them decorating the house. And I kept wondering, did she pay for this all herself?
But did she buy it though, or did the widower slip his black credit card to her?
I
Yes,
wish
that's
they would have told
probably.
us
No,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
he
I
skipped
was
over that
curious.
part.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
It's a good
mean,
point.
Si, you need to be the script doctor on these because that's what they call head canon. Like you're making like it work in a way that I'm not sure that they realize that it
Yeah.
works. But speaking of the widower, who's not Bill Pullman, but
No,
I'm gonna
he's Sam Jaeger
but I'm gonna
from
call him Bill Pullman. Who is Sam Jaeger?
Handmaid's Tale and
Was he out?
right
Is he in Handmaid's
and
Tale?
Parenthood.
Okay, I didn't watch Parenthood, but I did watch The Handmaid's Tale. But I
Yeah,
don't.
he was like a recurring character.
Okay. Yeah, I just assume anytime I see these guys that they're going to show up in another one of these. Like it's just again just the rotating stable of uh chiseled jaw white men.
When she pulls up to his house, she immediately knocks on the door, rings the doorbell. He's not answering because he's so busy with work. And he's on the phone and he doesn't hear that somehow.
That's what
And
I
then she
couldn't
goes
actually
to,
get that. I was like, why is she like at the window and she's like
so
she's
she goes
Oh
to the
no,
window.
shenanigans
because
happening?
no, before she even gets there, she's horrified
Oh,
because
right.
this isn't his house is the only one that isn't decorated. She's like, oh, of course.
Right.
And
So
then
this is the
like,
Halloween, like this is them like this is the first moment of transplanting Christmas for
yeah,
Halloween because there's a million movies about like, oh, they don't decorate their house for Christmas. What does that say about these people? These
mhm.
people, they don't have a heart. They've lost their way, they're grieving whatever, so they don't do Christmas anymore. Now Halloween has basically
This
become that.
widower doesn't do Halloween anymore because
Yeah, how
his dead
sad.
wife was the one that used to take care of that.
Right. Halloween was
So
my
she's
wife's
she's
thing.
out this window and she's doing all these broad comedy gestures.
Yeah.
To get his attention, and he doesn't see her at all somehow.
Because he's a tech bro.
Eventually, she almost falls, but then doesn't, and then he does see her. And I was like, why didn't they commit and have her do something over the top? And then that's what gets his attention. Eventually, he's like, oh, there you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was good at it. Like, like bless her heart. She was working, she was earning her money in that scene.
But you know what I find just even more startling? They meet. She comes inside for what, like a minute, and he's like dashing out the door. But before he goes, he's like, all right, secret password. The kids are upstairs. Bye.
Yeah.
And I
No
was just
vetting,
like,
no vetting process.
no, like, I want to make sure you meet my kids face to face. Well, here's the bathroom. Here's the kitchen. Like, here's my credit card. He's like, yeah, emergencies over there. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. He's
That is
like,
the shortest intro I've ever seen.
yeah, he's good. And
He doesn't care
you
about
wait,
what
you
kind of
forget that
car
she
she
does
has.
she does have a business card. She does have a like a
It says Poppy Summerall, temporarily for you, nanny services.
which is like
Why did she
intense.
make that up?
That's
Why did she?
intense. That is an
Because that is
intense business
profesh,
card.
Joe.
But
Because
also
she's a
temporarily
professional.
for you?
Temporarily.
That's so
Yeah.
threatening.
Which don't you feel like that was the original title for this movie? Because they
Oh
keep
my
bringing it up. They keep
God.
bringing back. You were just supposed to be
Thank you for
temporary.
saying that. The title doesn't fit this
No,
movie.
it doesn't.
Thank you for saying that.
No,
Wow,
that's
that's a
when they
great point.
they were like, okay, we got to figure out how to. This is actually a Halloween movie, so October Kiss. It's such a generic title, but the temporarily for you is such a strange concept that I guess is supposed to be like representative of like her lack of commitment. And then she's like, she's a fleeting person and you can't tie her down. So it's only temporary. But for her to like kind of acknowledge that and put that on her business card, I just thought was like,
She's
that would,
very self-aware.
yeah, it's a bit of a red flag for me though. I would be like,
A,
hmm.
a lot
You're
of
too
times in these
self-aware.
movies, a
Like,
lot
do
of times in
people
these movies
hire
that
nannies with the idea of like, good, she's only going to be temporary. Wait, if this works, like, don't you kind of want to hire someone that you don't have to hire again, someone else again in a
No,
couple of
I've been
weeks?
a nanny, and that did not read true.
I was going to say a lot of times these characters, and Poppy's the example in this movie, they just, it's almost like they make an invisible person. And you can't tell where they're at except for like where their footprints are or where they're brushing against a tree. Like there's no character there. It's just her effect on others. Like she's
Mm.
supposed to be flighty and she's supposed to be, have trouble committing to things, but we don't actually see that. So we just see the effects of it on others. We see the effects of it in these relationships, but we don't actually see her doing any of that.
Well, especially with the guy, right? Like that's my biggest complaint about this, and is often my complaint with a lot of these, is that like the guys don't live up to the women, right? Like we put so much personality into this girl. She's so quirky, she's so bubbly, she's so funny, she's great with kids, and the guy is just a guy. Like he's
You
just
know what they would describe that as? He's one note.
yes.
Yeah, very much so. That's a great point. He has nothing going for him other than the fact that he cares about his kids. That's it.
Yeah. And for the first
And
half of
he
the
has this
movie,
like tech project that's gonna be bought soon,
right, come on.
This app, this
Yeah.
app that he wants to get.
Yeah, I love
which
that you
has
called
a
him a tech
terrible
bro.
name, by the way.
You called him a tech bro, but he's like a 40-year-old tech bro. Like he looks like he's 40. He doesn't look like he's like, grinding the midnight hours, with a startup. He works for some big like Fortune 500 company that just happens to be in also doing app development for reasons.
So
But yeah, yeah.
when
So
she
the dad is kind of MIA for a lot of the early half of the movie. And yet we're supposed to believe that somehow Poppy is falling in love with him. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because first she's got to win
She
over the
tries to
kids.
connect with the kids.
She's got to win over the kids, and that's the Sound of Music part of it for me. It's like here comes, lovely Julie, God, what's her name?
Julie
And
Andrews.
Julie Andrews with all her like personality. Let's make everything a game. Everything's fun. We're gonna cut up the sheets and we're gonna make things and we're gonna do fun things. And the kids are like, "No, we hate this. We're not coming along for the ride." But slowly and surely, their hearts open.
so when she meets the kids for the
But
first
it
time,
doesn't go smoothly though.
No, it doesn't
no.
go
Because her
smoothly.
best laid plans
But that's
go
true in Sound of
awry.
Music as well. You can't have it happen immediately. You gotta have a couple of, near misses.
But it was very funny though, that goat scene. I was laughing hysterically at that.
The goat herd's throat had lay, lay, oh, oh, lady, oh, lady, oh, 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 lady, oh, lay.
Not the lonely goat herder scene, but the goat that eats the kids' clothing. Joe, did you want to say
I
something
was
about
just
when they
gonna say
first
when
meet the kids?
she meets the kids, she tells the dad to they don't want to have any interest in meeting her, so she tells the dad to say that she's a mermaid, which is a weird funny thing to do. So he does, and they come down because they want to make sure that she's not a mermaid. Eventually, they see that she's not a mermaid. They have no interest in her. They go back upstairs. And so she's like, "Don't worry, I understand. They probably just really liked their old nanny." And he takes a deep breath and says, "It's a long story." And then he goes to work. And I wanted to know what that long story was. At the end of the movie, there does not seem to have been a long story. It just seems like they're bad for nannies. That's it. Is that the long story that they're hard to take care of?
Yeah, yeah, they eat through nannies for
They
breakfast.
eat them alive, so they quit on the spot.
Yeah, which
Now
is a
that
very
would be a
classic.
Halloween
That's Mary
movie.
Poppins as well, right? Like the kids just go through the nannies and like they don't last very long. Um,
And I've seen other movies with the dad falls in with love with the nanny trope.
sure. Yeah, no, of course.
The nanny we want is kindly and sage.
And one who will work for minimum wage.
She tries to win over the kids, but first there's a quick scene that's like the only real scene that establishes like a little bit of empathy for the dad. The dad goes to work. He leaves the kids to go to work. Dad's got 450 new messages in his inbox.
It says 450 new messages, and you know he's workaholic.
Yeah, that's it.
So
He's on his phone all
And
the
he has an
time.
assistant. And
Yeah.
he has an assistant.
Yeah.
how long did it take him to garner this many new messages?
Yeah. But if that's the case, then you know what? I'm sorry. Dad's busy. Like dad really like
It's gonna be a new inbox record.
like I'm like, all right. Like, you know what? If you want to show me that like this dad is justified in ignoring his children, that's a lot of messages he's got to take care of.
Did you notice the subject lines of these messages?
I did not.
Okay, here's the thing. I get when I watch these dumb movies, I get locked in when they show things like cell phones, when there's messages,
Ooh,
when they
text
show
messages.
computers.
You're like, what is that?
Because they'll often you'll notice it's the beginning of the exchange, and it's like with their fiance, and you're like, you've been exchanging messages. Why is it the top of the message exchange? So things like that, these little things that they don't really pay a lot of attention to. So there's a bunch of messages from his coworker Abigail, which we become more familiar with later on. But the first two messages have the subject lines new telephone number, telephone is misspelled. The second subject line is your request, and request is misspelled. And I lost my mind. Like, what's happening here?
I really just gotta go back to that part.
Were they intentional? Like, did they look like they were intentionally misspelled? Like it's like ghetto speak or something? Or was it?
I mean, it's from the coworker that seems hyper, intelligent and productive. So I don't think so. But they're also both missing an letter E. So that makes me think, is there a problem with the person who typed this keyboard? And there could be more, but the problem is the 450 new messages box covers up the rest of the potential gold that we can't see here. Why would they do that? Like someone okayed that.
But as you say, like it's not really important. You just need to see the 450
Right.
messages part. So they just kind of went,
Right.
Not this guy.
This isn't an episode of
I've seen
Lost.
too many movies. I've seen too many movies. I can't let this stuff go.
They're not dropping clues. There's not like a whole like internet fan base that's like trying to code out like what
is that an Easter egg we missed?
Yeah. There's all these like references to the Illuminati that's happening in this Halloween Christmas movie. All right.
But you know what I find funny after that is that after he does his hard day of work and he gets home, the house is like a disaster.
Yeah.
And mind you, the kids aren't like super little. They're probably like what, 7 and 10?
Yeah.
And I was
That
just
sounds
like,
right.
did they have toddlers running around all day? It was like everything was taken out and it was just, and he was like, yeah, it's fine. And I was like, who's gonna clean that up? And she goes, okay, bye.
I was astonished at that moment. He walks in and it's dark out. And it's late. The kids are asleep. And she's cleaning up a stain out of one of the rugs. But things are everywhere. And she talks about how hard the day was. She threatens to quit. But then he mentions that he wants her to stay, and he kind of pushes a button that makes her feel like, is this another instance of me not committing? So she decides to stay. And then she just leaves his ass with his house a disaster zone. And then when we see the house next, it's the next morning when she's showing up for work, and it's pristine.
Because someone waved a magic wand. And that's the first thing. If you're a nanny, you clean up before you leave. Or they're going to fire you.
What is he paying you for?
I mean, maybe that was to build more sympathy for the dad, because now dad, stayed up cleaning, presumably, because there's no magic in this universe as far, that is the big difference between this and a Christmas movie. There's no sort of like hint of like a greater power or like maybe magical things are afoot underneath the surface. Everything seems kind of like above board and like in the real world.
Because she has her sister for that. Her sister is the blatant matchmaker.
Right.
So one thing that their first day included was a trip to the here before mentioned fall festival.
Right. This is where this is where we're really kicking in. Like this is where all the trailer shots are going to happen, right? Because it's like this is what we're selling you is autumn, and like in the same way that they make Christmas look so over the top and beautiful, like now we got to like make you want to go to a fall fest, right?
You can easily swap this entire thing out for a Christmas village. You swap
Yeah.
out the goat that eats the daughter's sweater for a reindeer that eats a daughter's sweater. It's the same thing. But one thing that's unique to this movie is the son sees a spider and runs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're introduced to his strong phobia of spiders,
He has
which,
arachnophobia.
Which I
seems,
appreciate because at
I
least that's
don't,
on message with like the Halloweenness, right? Right. Like it does tie into the Halloween thing a little bit. So I'm okay with it.
it seems to come out of nowhere because it's so severe. Like he is shut down after he sees this one spider.
Yeah.
On the
And
ear of
he's
corn. But
Wait,
I don't know. I really enjoyed that goat scene again
can
because
we before we get to the goat scene, can we talk about my favorite scene of the movie? Because like Joe, with your earlier mentioning of like the sort of staging and the sort of like, hit your marks, like, do exactly like, the way we rehearsed kind of moment. There is a scene in this movie. I watched it 20 times to try to dissect it. It is when, as soon as we get to the fall fest, the first scene we see of them, she's walking with the two kids. She's been here. She's like, this is my world. I'm taking them into my world. I love Halloween. I love the fall fest. I'm showing them the sights, the sounds. She walks up to a popcorn stand that is being run by an old lady. She literally just goes, she just waves her fingers and a woman hands her 2 bags of popcorn. No questions asked. She puts
no
some
money
cash.
exchange.
She puts cash on the table and the woman takes it and they walk away. And they're walking and they're talking with 2 bags of popcorn. She gives one to one kid, one to the other. Those kids probably eat 2 bites of popcorn. And she takes the bags back from the children, puts them on a different table, and then investigates corn. And there's like, now she's shopping for like actual ears of corn on the table. And it's very specific the way she puts the corn on the table and then realize, oh, the corn is kind of in frame. So then she kind of pushes the corn away. The popcorn is in frame. So she's kind of has to like push it out of frame. But it all happens in the course of like 3 to 4 seconds. Like it's just like, pay for popcorn, walk with popcorn, put the popcorn down. Next scene. Oh, let's look at
Waste
these
of
ears of
money.
corn.
I
Yeah,
have
they
pages
didn't
of
eat any of
notes
that corn because
and I
then they
somehow
find
missed
a
this
spider on the
entire
corn.
exchange. I didn't see any of this. That's how fast
I
it
saw
It's
happened.
two
that. I
seconds.
saw
It's
that. I
three,
saw
4 seconds. It's so fast, but it's
And I
so
went, wait,
rehearsed.
so you just wasted money to get the popcorn that no one really ate?
Nobody ate it. Now, granted, maybe they were going to finish that popcorn after they finished shopping for this magical ear of corn they were going to buy. But then, as we said, that's where the spider appears. The spider was on one of the ears of corn. So the kid runs away, goes and hides or, cries and stuff near the goats. There's like a petting zoo. And then one of the goats eats the girl's
Her
shirt,
favorite sweater.
favorite sweater. So that's where, oh no, the day is ruined. And that's kind of like
Yeah.
the end of like, day one, you know, is like comes crashing down on old Poppy.
But
She's
just
not,
sidebar, that whole goat eating thing just reminded me of the Getty because they hired like a herd of goats to like munch away at their property and trim it, keep it trimmed. So I was like, yeah, goats will eat anything.
yeah.
So cool.
Back off! Don't touch my corn. It's for my mommy.
Yeah. I mean, this is at this point, this is the biggest drama in the movie, right? Like this is
Yeah.
where all the drama, it's goats and
Spiders
spiders.
and goats.
Yep. These are the triggering elements.
Yep.
And this ruins the day, as you said, because we cut from there to the house that's a mess.
Right.
which tells me like these kids just tantrumed the rest of the evening away.
Yeah, and
They were
dad was
so
home late,
mad.
by the way. And this is the first of many times that dad comes home late because that's like his personality is to like not even do anything on time. So romantic.
Yeah, he's late all the time, every day.
Yeah.
And it's just that's how busy he has to do this big presentation because they have these investors coming from Japan. And when you know the presentation's on Halloween, and that's just the
And
way
then
it
it
is.
becomes, will he disappoint or not disappoint the kids?
Spoiler.
Is
He
the
disappeared.
question.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, we think that's when they have a heart to heart, and he kind of challenges her not to quit the job. So we cut to her the next day arriving, and the
right.
dad is making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, he's making it for the kids. And she's like, you're doing a terrible job with this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll take over. She makes it, and then he takes it. It was for him. I'm like, well, that's what a twist. I didn't see that. Cut to her dropping the kids off. She made them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches too. So peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all around.
And then the older
Except
kid gets revenge.
right. Okay. So finish your thought. How does that happen?
So this kid's super mad that, oh, we don't like you. You ruined our day yesterday. And so as she gets out the car, she secretly slips her PB&J sandwich. And, she gets out the car. Poppy's like, have a great day. Oh my gosh, at school, so fun. Have a great day. And they're like, bleh. And then she sits down and squelch.
Right.
And
So it's
That's
peanut
so
butter all
sad.
over her fancy leather seats in her beautiful convertible car.
Yep.
Seems like here's another crisis moment of, oh no, what am I going to do? This isn't, I can't do, she's in any other day, she'd quit this job again, but she's got to get over her commitment issues. So she's got to figure out a way to make it. So she doesn't give the kids what they want, which is to kind of like scare her away, I guess.
What she does is she sits in her car with her peanut butter covered seats and butt. She looks at the school. She sees all of these Halloween decorations and she gets an idea. And then we cut away from that. We join the dad at work. This is the second time we've seen him at work, but this is the introduction of the potential love interest, Abigail,
The
who apparently
Baroness.
she's just come back from Tokyo. She's happy to see Ryan, and you can immediately tell she's very invested in his attention.
Yeah.
And he's kind of he's fine. He's fine with it.
Just like,
But
yeah, it's my colleague, Abigail. No biggie.
she's like looking at photos of his kids and
Abigail
saying
and
it must
other
be so
players.
hard. Yeah, so she's she was so weird to me because I didn't understand what they were setting up. I was like, there's something off about her. I don't get it. It turns out she's just interested in him romantically. We cut back then to Poppy picking the kids up at school, and it genuinely looks like they could have just cut the camera from her dropping them off and then restarted filming and have
Yeah, they
her
filmed
act
that
like
all in
she's
one
picking them
take.
up. Nothing else looks any different. The car's in the same place. And I thought, oh, I wonder what she got up to during the day because she had that idea. What is she doing? Nothing. She didn't do anything. She just takes them from there to the decoration store where she either spends her own money or uses the credit card that was left for her.
Well,
We don't know.
presumably she
That
cleaned the
looked
peanut butter
vaguely
and
like
jelly off
Party
of
City.
herself.
We don't see
did
if she does that.
She did need to clean up. That's what I understood. She calls her sister for help, but then she's like, "Oh, never mind." But like, she still needs a change of clothes.
I thought that's why she was calling her sister. That she
Yeah.
needed like to stop by to pick up some clothes or something.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah,
So
so
she
then they
takes
go Halloween decoration shopping. But here's where the sloppy writing kicks in because there's a scene where the boy's like, "Can we get like skulls?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get pumpkins because pumpkins and skulls go together like peanut butter and jelly." But no, like, then she could have stared at the girl and be like, "I know what you did, girl." Like what a missed opportunity to like tie it back to the peanut butter and jelly that she just sat in 2 minutes earlier. And the
it was
dad,
actually probably 6 hours earlier
okay,
in the
yeah, that's
movie
right. There
time.
was
It
a
was
full,
like
right.
it was
In
like
our
six
world, in our
hours.
time of watching, it was 2 minutes earlier. But yes, there was a whole school day. So I guess there was plenty of time for her to forget and not,
See, this
connect.
movie is magical.
Yeah. So the first scene that's supposed to be Poppy and the dad bonding is a little like doesn't feel like bonding because he's doing market research on her. Like he finds out that she's single and he's oh great. Like you're basically like my test subject. Like you could be a test subject for my app.
So
Like, cause
is
that's,
this after the decorating
I think it's
happened?
actually before. I think
It
it
was that
actually
morning
happens.
when she
It might
she
be
shows
when
up for the first day.
it might be part of the same scene with the PB and J.
It
Um,
is, yeah.
Oh
but
yes, he is using her for market research for his lame named app. Yeah.
right. So like
Continue.
there's no like reason to think that this is like romantic at all because it's like he's just seeing her as like,
His app
data,
is called
data
Food with
point at
Friends,
this
by the
data
way.
point at this point.
I know. So lame.
Food with Friends.
Yeah, food with friends. Which by the way, I get advertisements for that all the time on my Instagram reels. I'm like and my Instagram feed is filled with like apps that are like that, where it's like meet strangers for food and stuff. So this movie was ahead of the curve on that front because now that's like a real thing. Um, but so she says something like, well, like Halloween's coming or something, and he says, well, I'm not going to be around for Halloween because that's the night of the big presentation with these I've got these foreign investors, this Japanese company. It's like a really big deal. And she's like, what? But that's on Halloween. Like, you can't do that. That's on Halloween night. And he says, I don't think the Japanese celebrate Halloween. And she says, like a psychopath, well, we celebrate it here. Like, like she's like Fox News level, like we celebrate Christmas. Okay. I don't care what they do in Japan, but we're here in America, and in America, we celebrate Halloween. And that
She
was the first
said
time I
that
was like,
like
I'm
it's
a little
somehow
scared of her.
like she said that like it somehow undercuts his statement that they don't celebrate it.
Yeah. No,
Well,
she's
we
like,
celebrate it.
for a woman who's smiling through 98% of this movie, that's one of the first movements where she's like, there's like a record scratch, and she's like,
That was
what do
a
you mean?
trigger.
Yeah, what do you mean they don't celebrate Halloween? Like,
Think about it this way though. If you swap the holiday out for Christmas, her seriousness makes a little bit more logical sense.
exactly. That's the thing, right? Because it's a beat from a Christmas movie trying to like sandwich into a Halloween movie, and you're just kind of like, I don't think people feel about Halloween that same way, but we'll pretend like they do in
Poppy
this
sure
movie.
does.
For Poppy, it does, and that's her character, is that she's obsessed with Halloween. Although there's no origin story to that. There's no like, well, Christmas with my dad, or or I mean Halloween with my dad, or I had a magic snow globe moment or something that like ties it all together. She just loves Halloween because she's a big kid.
So that night they get all these decorations, and we get a little bit of them decorating the house. There's tons of decorating going on. And the daughter's so excited to see her dad's face when he gets home.
Wait, but
And
first
so
there's a quick moment. This is one of the only, like, there's one of the quick moments that it's important for later because while they're decorating, Poppy's like, oh, let's do the lights like this. And the daughter says, that's how mommy used to do the lights. So we do have
So
to
you see
acknowledge
the
that these are
bond's building. The bond's building now.
right. They're seeing the connections between mom and Poppy because they decorate the
what's
lights the
interesting
same way.
is this scene takes place right after the fake party city scene,
Right.
where Zoe the daughter mentions to Poppy that they don't really remember their mom.
Well, the son
Because
does
if
it.
Where
The
she's the
younger
one that
son
used to
does
do
it.
the decorating.
she's like, at this point she's been dead, I think, for 3 years,
Yeah.
and so she's
So the
like,
girl remembers her, but she's like you don't remember him because like you were too young.
and so
Oh, so the brother.
fast forward to the kids decorating, and Zoe notes that, oh, this is the way my mom decorated Christmas, the Halloween lights. And then Poppy says, wow, your mom really must have been good at Halloween. And the son says, yeah, she was. What? We were just told you don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Continuity error.
Little.
But
so okay, so dad
Tech
comes home
Bro-
late again.
So Tech Bro walks in, but is totally obsessed.
Yeah, and actually, I will say for a movie that's a little like this is actually a really beautiful moment. I thought they handled this scene really well, where the Poppy says to the girl, she's like, what do you think Dad's face is going to be like when he sees these decorations? Is it going to be like wow, or is it going to be like what? what? Or holy cow, and that's kind of like the first like real bonding moment between the two of them, I thought. And I thought the kid does a really good job of acting that scene because the kid is actually a good, like, is actually like a really good
Yeah, I
actor.
would say that they really utilize the kids
Yeah.
well in this kind of movie because sometimes the kids are just like
Yeah.
a presence,
Hmm.
but the
Well,
kids
like the
actually have
nephews
like the
are like the nephew, like
dialogue,
those nephews are basically just like say your lines and get the hell out of this movie.
right? But
Yeah,
these
the kids are
kids
fine.
actually served a purpose. I think they acted well, they delivered their
Yeah.
lines well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Especially
believe the
especially the
girl.
daughter. And I thought that scene was cute. It just was kind of weird on its own. It just doesn't really feel so they're making like what do they think the dad's face is going to be, which is sweet because then we cut to the daughter anticipating him coming home.
Right.
And when he comes home, he's looking at his phone. He's looking at the car, and the lawn is littered with decorations. The house is coated in
It's like
decorations.
a fire hazard at this point.
And he's
They could sell
Tim is
tickets.
like directly to his phone as he walks. And he can't see any of it. And he walks in the door, which is covered in decorations, and he walks inside, and the daughter, who's up later than she's supposed to be, is so excited. And he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he totally doesn't know what's happened. And the daughter's like, "Didn't you see?" And he's like, "Oh, I totally saw." He just straight up lies to her and just said, "Oh yeah, I saw it. I saw it was cool." And she's like, "Well, what was your favorite part?" And that's when Poppy tries to cover for him.
Busted.
And yet the daughter does not buy it.
You scared your dad speechless?
He didn't even notice. He never notices anything.
So,
Right.
She
Her
realizes
reaction is
her.
great. Like that's why I felt for the daughter in that moment because like she got so excited. They like, there was all that anticipation for then the dad to just be like, it didn't mean anything to him. Like I felt like that was really I related to that idea of like, like you think someone's gonna care as much as you do, and they're just like, yeah, what's the big deal here? And then she's like that's like where she's just like, Dad doesn't really ever care about anything. And like she kind of storms off and like has her like, I'm done with dad.
But they do get their payback later on.
They do.
In
How
an
did he
intense,
not
in
see
the most
anything
intense
though?
scene of the movie.
Because he's a tech bro who's just like focused on work.
The other thing was, even after he realizes he has missed something, no one explains to him before he goes to comfort the daughter what exactly he's missed. No one says, "Oh, there's decorations everywhere. That's what you've missed." He never goes outside to see the decorations. He
Right.
doesn't take
I think
anything
he sees
in.
them eventually.
Yeah, he does
I
see
would
them
hope
eventually.
so.
But before that, there's a
He
moment
does.
which
He
I thought
does.
was I thought it was kind of a nice moment too, where like when the daughter storms off, the dad's like, "Oh, I gotta go talk to her." Poppy's like, "Give me your phone. Like, let go of your damn phone and like just talk to your daughter without your phone in your hands for just freaking 1 second." And I was like, "That's pretty cool that she like stepped in
Calls
and
him
like had that."
out.
Yeah, she kind of called him out, and like people call the dad out about that later too. But that's like the first moment I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe that's part of his deal is that he's like just always on his phone, and that's why he's like a little checked out." But I like that moment.
And then when he's done comforting her, we do not see how he gets around it or what this is left. He comes down and then they share another. This is their second really sharing a moment, Poppy and the dad, after he's comes back downstairs.
Right, which again is a nothing. Like there's no real.
Oh, because
We're
then
this far into the movie, and I still don't buy that there's like any setting up really of a romance. It's still very much a work slash business slash friendship
yeah, and then
relationship.
he's asking her about, is it a date? This
Oh, right.
Right,
typical
yeah,
date
he
we
asked for
have
He
advice
out
about
mentions
of
that
this
love.
he has a
And she
date.
goes,
He has a
yeah, of
this side
course,
piece. Yeah.
because it's Italian. And I go, so if you ever eat an Italian with anyone, you're just suddenly on a date?
This
Well,
movie
there
has
were
an
two
agenda on
factors that made
Italian.
it a romantic date. She asked the dad whether Abigail, his coworker, who asked who to go to the dinner, and is it Italian? And those two factors make her decide it is in fact a date.
Yeah, it's
All
almost a
right.
running joke in this that like Italian is like code for, funny business or something. It's like, oh, people only go eat Italian when they like,
All right, guys, be
like it.
careful who you're asking to go to Italian with you, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
We also, while they're talking about this and determining that it is a date, and Ryan, the dad, seems accepting of this. Like he's like, okay, I guess it might be a date. We see that the daughter is listening in,
Mm.
and she's like, oh no, I don't know about this. But we learn more about her hesitancy to this potential relationship later on. But
Yeah,
this
because
is
you also
the
find out the
seed being
daughter's
planted.
been kind of like reading his texts because she's like, oh, Abigail's in his phone like all the time. Like she's
Oh,
constantly,
that's right.
yeah, she's like, she mentions that like she sees the name Abigail a lot in his phone, and that kind of scares her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
This
yeah,
brings us to the scene in the movie that just got me really mad.
okay. Wait, is that
Yeah.
before? So wait, so first there's the party. There's like a school party. The dad also misses the school party. Is
And
that
then
Yes.
it,
they're
or is the next
home.
scene?
Like they're at home.
Okay.
Like it seems like it's in the morning and Poppy and Zoe are baking something.
They're
And
talking. Zoe starts asking her how you might know if someone is the one
Oh
for
yeah. How
you.
do you know when you're in love with someone?
right. And they have like separate mixing bowls and they're mixing stuff and
Like it's a Christmas
you know,
movie.
yeah, and he's like, well, what are you making? And they're like, oh, cookies. And I'm like, okay, fine. I expect to see some like regular homemade cookies, but no, they're like the most perfect cookies you've ever seen. And I was like, but she's not good at anything. So
Right.
why are
She
these
can't bake a
cookies
pizza,
so
but she can make a
perfect?
cookie.
Then if you're this good at baking cookies, where's your cookie business, ma'am? Where?
That's a different movie.
That's a different movie.
Where?
Yeah.
I've seen that movie
The
too.
Halloween cookie
October
movie is
cookies with a
coming.
kiss.
I think we
They
need to
show
write the
three.
Halloween cookie movie.
They show three cookies. There's to the dad, and they're like, these aren't just Halloween cookies; these are educational Halloween cookies.
Hmm.
There's a skeleton, which is really nicely rendered on a cookie, and she talks about how many bones are in the human body. And there's a bat, which she describes as newly endangered, which is so broad and so vague. But that's an educational fact about the bat. And then there's a haunted house cookie, which is there's no educational material with this. It's just haunted house. But the thing about that is, to go with your point, it's so nice looking. It's so perfectly drawn on the cookie.
I was like, you couldn't have made it a little sloppy? Like, come on.
Like a kid made it.
No, they couldn't because they had to show how awesome popular. They're just like, you got to know that Poppy is like in her elements. And this is like, she was born for this. Like, this is
But
what
it
was
just doesn't
missing.
jive with Poppy's a mess. She can't get it together.
No, no,
She
no,
got
no,
that
no, no. She
together.
was only a mess because she wasn't in a domestic situation. She wasn't in a family. That's what she was cooking for strangers. Now she's cooking for her soon to be children and her man. So
I
that's
don't know
all
that I like
the
that.
difference. That unlocked her Super Saiyan mode that now she's able to bake like she never baked before. Although, to your point, she also brags about how great she is at making costumes. Like she's also like, oh yeah, I make homemade costumes. Like so,
Did
like
you see those costumes?
yes, I did.
They're so nice.
Yeah,
Other thing is,
she cut out the stars.
when he gets home, he sees the cookies. The kids go off to bed, but before they do, the kids are like, "Can you come to the Halloween party tomorrow?" at
Right?
school?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he says, "I'll do my best." And the kids are so excited. The boys like, "Yes!" And they happily go off to get ready for bed. And as soon as they leave, Poppy asks the dad, he says, "So are you really going to try your best, or is that code for you're not going to make it? You'll be too busy." And he said, "Well, I probably won't make it." And then she goes into this spiel about how basically her mom was super fun, but never around. And her dad was more buttoned down, but he was always there for her. And she says, "Which parent do you think I talk to? Or which one do you think I'm still close with?" And this hits home for him, where he's like, "Oh my God, you're right. I want my kids to still want to be in touch with me." And yet he still doesn't go to the party.
Nope, nope.
He's a no-show.
He's a no-show. And that
And
party
then they
scene
just
is rough because it's just like her. Like now she's starting to fall in love with him for reasons like again no reason, but like
what has he
suddenly
done
she's
to intrigue you, Poppy? What?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, granted, the sister's not helping. The sister's egging her on. The sister, the classic sister role of being like, give him a chance. He's a great guy. I've known him for years. Like all this is off camera, right? Like everything that's great about this guy is not in this movie. We have not seen any of this, but supposedly he's a great person or whatever. But
There were a
take her word
couple of
for it.
odd
But
things at the.
now, but this scene leads us to maybe why he's great.
Okay,
This scene
well,
leads us
so I think the
where
next
I was
scene is
going
the
to say
most. Go ahead. Yeah.
there's a couple of odd things in the party scene. So Poppy's there with the two kids, and her sister's there with her sons. And there's a bit where she looks over at the boy that she's nannying, Zach. And Zach is just sort of standing there by himself with Poppy's sister and nephews behind him having a great time. And I'm not sure what we're supposed to derive from this. It's like, does he not know how to make friends? Because he's just standing there by himself. And
Yeah.
it's weirdly sad. And then
Yeah.
we cut from there to the sister talking to Poppy. And this other weird thing that's in this scene is like she's ginning her up to like, why aren't you interested in Ryan? He's a good guy. He's a good dad. He's a great guy. And she says something like, "You're so pretty." And Poppy turns to her sister and says, "You're pretty too." And I was like, what is that about? Like, and then I start wondering what the sister's relationship deal is, because she's not with like the father of the children. She doesn't seem to be in any sort of relationship. She doesn't seem to be dating. And so is this a call to like this untold story of the sister's world? I don't know, but it came out of
so
nowhere.
much of this movie is off screen.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like leftovers of like another draft of something that was like, a plot line that got cut and they forgot to like trim it a little bit more so that like there's no remnants of that. Yeah, you're
At
right.
first
Like
I
I said,
thought
like
the
that I
boys
my just thinking about that scene, I feel weird. Like there's something weird about it.
at first I thought that the boy's like disconnectedness from the other kids was going to tie into him seeing a spider again, because
Right.
it's called back to so often. But that never happens. Eventually, Poppy corrals the kids and is like, "Why don't you guys wrap me up like a mummy?" Which is the thing that you can do at this party.
Okay.
And so she's fully wrapped up. She can't access her phone. The phone vibrates. Sure enough, it's a message from the dad. So the daughter
Why
sees
wasn't
it,
her
and
phone in
that's
her pocket? Like why was the phone?
because then how could they get to it in time? How
Yeah.
could they get to it?
Yeah.
And the daughter sees that it's a message from her dad telling Poppy to basically break it to the kids that he's not going to make it. And they are despondent. They are so sad.
They're pissed.
As they should be.
Yeah.
Because he's disappointed them so much lately.
Yeah. So then we have what is a very intense moment, which is the children basically confront their father in a very elaborate way that they believe is like speaking to him on his level, right? So like,
So
all
this
right,
is
dad,
up
Before
to
they do that, they kind of introduce like this faux triangle thing with Poppy and Brian and Abigail because, she pops up at their house unexpectedly, right?
no, that's later. That's
no,
later.
that's later.
That's later.
So in this
No.
scene, it's
So
it's
we go from
post-party.
that party to the kids being upset to like Poppy being like, if you're really upset with your dad,
Oh, the
why
kid
don't
intervention.
why
Oh,
don't you
yes.
Yeah,
confront? Why don't you confront?
intervention.
That's what it is. It
Intervention.
is an intervention, but it's a work intervention. Like they treat it like they're using all this like tech or business language.
A la job evaluation.
Yes,
Well,
like evaluating your capacity as a father, like which was like,
so
whoop, it's like
I wanted to note
stab,
that in the
stab.
scene, leading up to this kid intervention, which is an amazing term, the Poppy's trying to cheer the kids up. And what does she have with her? And I only note this because of what you said earlier. She has a big bowl of popcorn. And she has the popcorn and she's trying to cheer the kids up. And the kids are, again, they're so sad. And she's like,
So
you know
what do
what?
you do?
I have an idea. Let's go upstairs. And then she says, she hands the bowl of popcorn to Zoe, the daughter. And it's like, then she says, follow me. And then all three of them go upstairs. So why did she have to give the popcorn to the daughter? They're all going upstairs anyway. And so then they go upstairs and we don't know what they're up to until the dad gets home and he comes face to face with his children wearing business attire.
Right. The girl has business attire. Like, did Poppy make those? Like, is she a tailor? Did she tailor them little suits for that?
He's like, I'll borrow one of his ties and just make it kid friendly and like.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
That's what we'd like to ask you.
They had I like the little mini clipboard with like the checklist.
Something came up at work, and
We're evaluating you in your capacity as father. Shall we begin?
When
I like the way
like,
that like dad tries to be like, and she's like, don't interrupt. And she's like, like, you're in the hot seat, dad. We're going to give it to
yeah,
you.
clearly you're failing, Ryan.
Yeah.
So
They
he
say
walks
you
in
love
and-
your cell phone more than you love your kids. That was the big.
Yes. So he walks in, they tell him to sit down, and they tell him there's going to be an evaluation on his duties as a father, his capacity as a father, as they put it.
Right.
And they use all the, like you said, business jargon, talking about trends, and he's falling short. And it's a very harsh, very direct review of his dad's skills. And they conclude by saying his priorities are out of whack.
Yes.
And then Zoe bluntly asks him if he wants to be the dad who breaks promises, which is so serious. And shocker, he says no. He doesn't want to be that dad.
Recognizes the of his ways.
Yes. Yes. He
agrees
realizes
to try
that
harder.
I like the way
That
she's
was a
like,
really good scene.
it is a good scene.
Oh, it
'Cause
was.
I like the language is great. She says like, failure to show up after you promise, after promise after promise, an alarming trend in how you choose to be a father. I was like, whoa, like not like it's like, this is a choice, dad. Like you're choosing this.
So he accepts responsibility, and he gets ready to call them in for a hug. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, but this is like meant to be an epiphany for her though. For like this whole scene, it's like you think it's about dad, but it's really about Poppy, because we cut to Poppy and she's just like, oh, I'm good at this. Like this is her. She finally, the whole movie, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it. It's temporary. Blah blah. Making these kids have an intervention with their father and have it like that's like she was like, I'm a winner now. Like I got
She says to herself,
yeah, buddy. And they top it off with the sweet note.
Yeah.
We love
she says to herself, I'm good at this temporarily.
Oh yeah.
Because of course.
Right,
but the other thing I wanted to mention is they give him a clipboard with his results on a paper, and in it, written in crayony kids' handwriting, is a nonsensical report because it has the following factors: reliability, focus, prioritization, team effort. Each one of them has a check mark next to it, implying that he's successful at them, when the contrary has been established.
But they had to tamp down the harsh criticism, right? So they had to make him see the of his ways.
Right.
But then they had to temper it. Like,
Get more with honey.
But really in the end, we know that you're really this way and we love you.
Right. We're giving you.
And of course, the last one. Yeah, I guess, but it just doesn't make any sense given everything they just said.
It's good negotiation.
I know. I zoomed in on that. I was like, wait, what?
It could have just been a nervous tick thing that, like, while she was like, yelling, they're just like checking, and they're just like, it's like responsibility check, boom, check.
It's just that they discussed these topics, not that he was successful at them.
Yeah, he's like, point number 1 made, point number 2 nailed it.
Because of this, he apparently decides to be more present, and we cut to them immediately at a pumpkin patch.
The redemption
There's
arc begins.
Redemption Day. That's what I wrote. I wrote Redemption Day.
But there's no discussion about how he suddenly has time for this. There's no discussion about like with
time,
strings.
Joe. He's making time.
Right.
He was on the wrong path. Now he's going down the path of the pumpkin patch, where they have this awkward exchange about the ages thing.
Right.
That's
true.
Yeah. And this is why it's a Christmas movie, because in all of these Christmas movies, there's always this sense of like work is completely optional, right? Nobody actually has to work. People choose to work, and the money just grows on trees, and it's like, just stop working.
It's time for super bonding.
Yeah.
Well, this is also the transplanted version of getting a Christmas tree scene, where they're there to get a pumpkin.
Totally.
And Poppy and Ryan pick out an absurdly large pumpkin, which we never see again. They put it in a wheelbarrow and everything.
They carve it later.
Cook it. They make it into stuff.
Yeah,
okay. I saw the smaller ones. I missed the larger one.
They carved it, I think.
Yeah, later
And
they're
that's
like,
when
we're
we
making pumpkin ravioli and we're making pumpkin sauce and we're making like,
Oh, and is that it? Was that the pumpkin that ended up being the pumpkin soup later?
yeah, yeah. I
I
think so.
presume
I think
so.
so.
That's a good point.
I think so.
This is what at that night when they're carving pumpkins, we find out
Yeah.
about the kids'
Yeah.
upcoming costumes that Poppy's going to make. The daughter's going to be a witch, and young Zach is going to be a spider.
Yeah, which is a growth moment, right? That's I like that.
Growth
It's like
for Zach.
you got to face your fear. Dad also has a like his way of like, hey, I'm in this movie too, is he quotes Ferris Bueller and says, life moves pretty fast if you don't stop and look around every once in a while. And that's like sort of shows that like, okay, he gets it. Like he knows what's going on. He knows what he's missing. He's got to,
And it puts him in the mood to do some more decorating. Because Poppy comes over and
oh,
what is he
right.
doing?
And he did
Adding
that
more
on his own, right?
decoration to the kitchen.
He is, you're right. He's hanging things.
Hmm.
And then he says he has to go back to work. He has to meet up with Abigail. And it's so the timing on this, like in the day, it just doesn't make any sense. But he's going to work
Yeah,
and
but
he's meeting up
before
with
that, the sparks
What's the,
start flying
oh yeah.
because they do a little
Oh,
dancing.
dancing. Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
do
Okay,
the
so
dancing. That's
but
true.
that again, that feels like it came out of nowhere. That is like, okay, finally we're having a little bit of romance or whatever, but it just so out of nowhere
The
bothered me.
decorations put him in the mood, Dave.
I guess so. I can't remember if this is where the scene happens, but there's a great line where the kid says to Abigail, like, thanks for making dad spend time with us. And she's like, no, no, dad wants to spend, time with you. Uh, and then it turns out that like dad has to cancel again because it's like, oh, I actually have a date. And they're just like, and it's like with Abigail, and the girl goes Italian again. So we're like, that's where we're building the Italian thing is like,
And this is where we get a scene with Poppy and the daughter talking about Abigail potentially being their new mom,
yeah,
and she talks about how it should be Poppy that marries her dad, which is again strong language to
yeah.
be put forth right there.
And the kids
And
are
Poppy
cool
kind
with
of
it.
Just a
They're
couple of weeks since they've known each other.
not
yeah,
even. It's days.
Days,
Days.
right?
but
That's true.
and Poppy kind of dances around. Then it's like I don't know about all that, because she's
Yeah.
only there temporarily, guys.
Yeah, remember that. But she's now crafty Poppy
Yeah.
after working on these amazing costumes, not only for them, but for her sister and her nephews too.
Right.
We get some of Abigail and Ryan and their date. And this is when it becomes even more evident that Abigail is all in on Ryan. Like she is ready to buckle down with him. And she talks about at some point a potential job in Japan that she's not going to take at this point. She talks about like his kids, and he's like, I'm worried that they might see someone as replacing him. And Abigail, just everything she says is a way for the audience to know she's really cool and she's not trying to be a weirdo and she's a cool person. And I thought it was interesting, and it was also refreshing that they weren't trying to make her a bad person. They weren't trying to make her a nemesis.
Yeah.
She was just not the chosen partner eventually.
Yeah. She actually like she doesn't go full villain, we'll skip ahead, but she basically like is willing to step aside gracefully, which is nice. Like she knows, you know, what's up. So then she's like sitting outside, I guess, with her feelings or whatever, surrounded by
Or
surrounded by all those decorations. I specifically noticed that there's a decoration of a dead woman. I assume it's just supposed to be a random, like, this is like an arbitrary, like haunted mansion portrait of, some lady that died or whatever. But why it's like it's the only one of its kind. Like there's no other decorations like this. There's just one decoration of a presumed dead woman that I assume is supposed to be like, to remind us of the dead mother. That's like, don't forget that, these kids have a dead mom and she's kind of coming in and maybe the mom's watching them and she approves of Poppy or something. I don't know. I'm reading into this.
that's
But I just thought it was
everything
very
you're
weird.
I didn't see
describing.
that part.
We see this photo.
But it's a Halloween movie you're describing. This is not a Halloween movie because that that would be scary. That
Yeah.
would be kind of spooky.
It
This
would
is
be
not
kind of
that.
nice to have a ghost show up, right? Just to kind of like have that like Halloween moment. Yeah,
Poppy, where's
Bobby, I give you a thumbs
Bruce?
up. Like,
So yeah, she's waiting for him, and when he gets there, they share an awkward, flirtatious moment where he
yeah.
thanks her for everything, and she looks, she says, "You're welcome for everything," and then she leans in really close,
To get
and
her
he's like, "Okay,
keys.
well, but it's a fair way to lean in to get keys," and then he's like, "I guess we're hugging." And he starts to go in for a hug, and then they determine that is not what was supposed to
They're
be
like,
happening.
but
Is
friends hug.
yeah, that's what he says, friends hug, and she's like, I don't know about that."
You're
She
right.
gets very
It's super awkward.
It is, and it's supposed to be awkward, but
Yeah. Especially because he
it was
just came
like,
back from a date with another woman that
yes.
seemingly went well.
Then let's see here. We get a bit with him playing on the front lawn,
Yeah. So
and
that's
that's
like
when the
the
dad.
I wrote down it's the like the ultimate Sears catalog, LL Bean advertisements for
As they
like
stare into each other's
no, but
eyes.
they're romping around on the lawn and leaves are
And
blowing and
of course, she falls on top
they're
of
wearing
him.
sweaters and they fall and then the kids get up on top and
And it's
that's
like,
the moment.
touchdown.
I want to
Yeah.
But
make a point
Abigail
here.
ruins the moment when she arrives because she's like, you need to get down to business, Ryan.
Yeah. Get to work.
So they're playing football, and then the dad comes home during the day. Again, inexplicable how he's able to pull this off. He shows up during the day. Then it's a foursome football game, girls against boys. They're having a ball. We see a touchdown and we see an attempt at another, but then Ryan very aggressively tackles Poppy. Like it seems so bizarre given what we've seen of them playing so far. And he takes her to the ground, and that's when they have another. Oh my gosh, they're sharing a moment there.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like
That got you?
that got me. She's wearing this cute flannel. They're playing around. The leaves are just
Cute
blowing.
flannel.
It's like, that's my PG porn, man. Like that's
Cute.
And then yeah, as you mentioned, who arrives but
yeah.
Abigail.
Me for? We're on the same team. Oh,
To
The
interrupt
Baroness.
them.
I keep calling her the Baroness because that's what in Sound of Music, there's the woman that the dad's gonna marry and they're all, she kind of plays that same kind of role. It's like, oh, we don't want her to be our mom. We want you to be our mom.
But of course, this whole thing leads to Abigail staying for dinner.
Yes. Well, that's
And
it.
then
That's the
Poppy
tense,
goes and
that's the
like
classic tense moment.
creates all this dinner for Abigail and the family, and everything's going well until she says the worst thing at the worst possible time.
Wait, who
And the
says it?
kid angst reigns. You run
Well, I just thought
upstairs.
it was funny. Like, I think what's funny about that scene too is that like the awkwardness of like, okay, Poppy's, sitting there. It's the first time where the two of them are sharing space. But the way the kids are just hyping up Poppy, like they're just like, Poppy's the best. Like Poppy did this,
Like,
Poppy can do that, Poppy can do no wrong. Poppy's just the jam. Poppy, like, has a 401k. Poppy's doing all this cool stuff. No mention of their dead mom. Like forget that they ever had a dead
dead
mom.
mom who?
The
It's all
grief,
Poppy.
the grieving period is over. Poppy is their new mom.
What's funny about that is
Poppy's the queen.
Abigail never like argues this. She's like, "Oh,
No,
really?
because
That's
she's
good to
too
know."
polite.
Yeah.
She's too
She's like, "Oh,
polite.
that's
No.
She's
interesting."
cooking her soup.
No, Poppy's only real crime. I'm sorry, Abigail's only real crime. She never took an improv class because she doesn't yes and the kids, right? Because that's what they like about Poppy is like Poppy goes along with all their shenanigans. Poppy plays along with everything. They say, hey, what did you do you ever dress up for Halloween? And she was like, yeah,
What
yeah.
happens
I
is
was actually an astronaut.
Ryan mentions that when he was a kid, he had a costume he liked so much he wore it multiple years in a row. He
Right.
never says what it is, I don't believe.
Oh, he does.
What was it?
He said he was a night costume.
Is that what it was? Okay, I missed that. And then Abigail says, I was an astronaut. And Zach, the little boy, says, "What planets did you go to?" And she looks at him with utter seriousness and says, "No, it was just a costume.
Yeah,
I didn't really go to other planets." And
right,
he's like, "Ugh, get lower to this crap. What is this?"
right.
And then Poppy covers for her. And it's like, "Oh, no, no. She did visit planets, but she just can't remember them all."
Right.
I thought there was like
It's
a
the
Pluto
classic children
reference,
mistake
no?
of like if a kid hands you a banana and it says ring ring, you're supposed to say hello. And she doesn't
Well,
get it. Like she's just like,
well, Abigail does mention that she went to Pluto, and Zoe, who was out to get
no, no, she
Abigail for
says,
Pluto.
no, the kid asks, what's your favorite planet?
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
And she says, Pluto. And the girl, for the first time now, she's like, Superstar's like, Pluto's not a planet anymore. And like, so like in a level of grief for Pluto that like she didn't have for her own mother, she's like, there's no more Pluto anymore. It's gone.
And Abigail correctly corrects her. It says,
Yeah,
actually, it's a
yeah.
dwarf planet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which you
but
would
Zoe's not
actually think
interested.
that should be of a connective scene because earlier the daughter Zoe, she's the one who's spitting facts about animals and spiders and like, so she seems like the kind of girl who likes that kind of like science fact stuff. So that's another
Well,
little
then we cut to Zach, and Zach is like, "Oh, damn, I didn't know she was like this. She knows about space." But we don't have any room for him to go, appreciative of her because we got to go from there to them finding out that their dad has to work Halloween night. And this is just too much for the kids to bear.
No trick or treating, kid meltdown, rightly so, and they shoot upstairs.
And the dad goes to try to make amends. Many times in this movie, he leaves the scene to go fix things, and we're left with Poppy and Abigail getting to know each other.
Awkwardly.
Oh, very awkwardly. But again, Abigail's only polite. She's like, "Wow, you're great with the kids. I'm so impressed."
yeah.
And Poppy is very, it's not standoffish, but she's like, "Oh, thank you." She's trying to give this woman space to be in this world. And
Mhm.
it's just awkward. It's just uncomfortable more than anything. Nobody's doing anything wrong.
And then it just cuts to, Ryan walks her to her car and she's like, perfect opportunity. Let me lay one on him. And he's like, he's taken aback. And of course, who comes to the door just in time? Poppy.
She sees it and she's like, "I shouldn't be seeing this." And she backs away from the doorway. Yeah, I thought that kiss kind of came out of nowhere, but it seemed perfectly normal for a relationship at their level. But and he did not fend it off. And in fact, jumping ahead, at no point does he make any sort of declarative decision about what he wants to do with his life. And this is just another step of that. Abigail is making her move, showing her interest, and he's like, "Okay, cool, that's fine. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing."
Because the dad is a blank canvas for which
He's
these
one
women
note.
are these
He's
women
one
are
note.
bringing their own decorations. Like they're like, you know,
They're
he's
bringing their own decoration?
yeah, they're like, we can do stuff with this guy because he's got nothing, and we can turn him into whatever we want to turn him into.
So clearly Abigail is
Abigail
trying
wants to make him
mark her
Japanese,
territory.
and
Wants to make him Japanese.
she's like trying to convince him to go to Japan and like learn Japanese. There's a great scene that tries to like establish like, I guess like how like distant she is or whatever, where like she's showing off like her Japanese skills as she answers the phone and she's like, Ohio, arigato gozaimasu, like, but it's like the most basic, like entry level Japanese, and it's like all they show you. But it's meant to lay the
And
groundwork that she's kind of like, her head's in Japan. Like she's
She's
like,
more international than Ryan can handle.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so
like,
after the kiss, we get the scene where the kids are being put to bed by Poppy, and they tell her that they love her, and she says she loves them, and we see that Ryan hears this,
oh, right, right, right.
and then he waits for Poppy to leave outside, and greets her outside and says, "We need to talk about you and us."
Yeah, they
And
start squabbling.
it's the perfect
Classic,
thing where
because like this is like it's like required moment. Like you have to have this moment in these kind of movies to create like that like 11th hour drama like unnecessarily.
That's exactly what it is. 11th hour trauma.
so he says just enough for her to misinterpret or to presume. She jumps in and interrupts him. He doesn't clarify, and before you know it,
She's
she
quit.
says that she's not going to stay longer than they had agreed upon. And he says, well, if you're not going to stay longer than that, maybe you should just stop working here. And it escalates very quickly,
Very
and she
quickly.
Like
walks
he
away in
doesn't
tears.
need the help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come to
apparently not, because the
conclusion.
next morning he's making breakfast for the kids. He tells the kids he's going to drive them to school. How does he have this time all of a sudden? And he has a place for them to go after school.
Well, he hooked it up with like some other parents. There's like he's like, and then you're gonna go to this other kid's house. They're gonna drive you home. Like, like he it's not all him, but he did figure out all the logistics.
Yeah.
He
And
did rise
an
to the
interesting
challenge.
thing about that is he also mentions that he and Abigail are going to be working at the house again,
All right.
which is the second day in a row they're working at the house. But this one, there doesn't seem to be a reason for them to be working at the house. The first
No,
day was
it's
so she could
just,
stay
I
for
think it's
dinner.
just set up to show that the kids are at the house too and how they're super bummed. They're not being
That's true.
creative. They're just like moping on the couch, missing Abigail, and
No,
like
missing
the
Poppy.
zest of life is gone because she's no longer there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a line where the daughter says to the dad, she's like, Poppy loves you. I can tell. She always talks about you all the time. And I'm like, what? Like when? When did we
Yeah.
didn't see any of that. Like would she have would she even have to
At all
say?
the events he missed.
Yeah, all the
One of
scenes he
the
wasn't in.
things this reminds me of a thing that happened earlier, and I was kind of confused by it because I don't have kids, so I've never dealt with a nanny in a professional sense. When they go to the pumpkin patch, why is Poppy there? Because he's there. And so it didn't really make any sense for her to be
He's
on
paying
duty
her
for
to hang
this.
with them.
That's kind of weird because he's there. And it just
Well,
seemed odd
sometimes
to me.
nannies do go with families to things so they're extra set of hands for the kids. So
I don't know
that
if he's-
seemed that made sense to me. Like,
Oh, okay. All right. So
but I did wonder, it's like, is she getting paid for that, or is
Oh,
this
I hope
just
so.
like
She should be paid for that.
like we're just hanging out?
No.
But yeah,
Not at that point in the movie.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. So Poppy quits for all intents and purposes because that's how it's kind of framed. Because like her sister's like, "Why did you quit?" And she's like, "I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened." Because they were
because
jumping to
I'm a screw
conclusions.
up and I'm not good at anything.
Yeah. And foolishly from the screenwriter standpoint, they show them like they at this point they're like doing yoga, which is
they
weird because
cut back to the yoga class, which now is
well, no,
being led by
first-
so
Poppy.
first there's a scene of actually maybe
Oh,
this
sorry,
is
the
later.
sister.
It was an
sister and
earlier
Poppy
scene
are
where the
doing yoga.
sister and them are doing yoga.
We can't be the only commitment that you make. Go down a little lower. A little lower. Lower. Good.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Which I don't like because then it shows that she kept up with the yoga. But then and then we see her go back to the yoga class from the beginning.
Yeah,
of the movie.
I got confused. I forgot about the two.
And then
you're
slay
right.
it. Slay the yoga class.
Does she?
Yeah, she leaves the yoga class with
Yeah,
no
because even
obvious
the
problem.
lady that took over made a comment like, "Huh, you got better." Like,
Oh, really? I thought she was like, I could tell your head's not in it. You're like,
She didn't say that.
yeah, she's like, she says to her, like, I can tell when someone's like in love with someone, like, she's like, who's the boy? Like, like, you're just like, and because like Poppy's like, it was that obvious. She's like, yeah, I could see, in your face that you ain't thinking about chakras. You're thinking about,
Well, she presumes there's a guy.
yeah.
She goes, what did
so
he
while
do?
Poppy's like preoccupied with her faux yoga, like Ryan's getting ready for his big presentation because
Halloween
it's
night.
tonight, it's like the day. And Abigail's like, we gotta nail this. And he's like, yeah.
What was funny in that
Well,
scene is that Abigail's like I can tell you, you miss your kids, you want to be but your kids are going to appreciate because you're doing all of this for them. Like they're going to appreciate because you're going to make so much money and they're going to like live such a great life, because of this merger. Meanwhile, like she's been to their house. Like they're fine. Like they make a lot of money. They're doing real well.
This was the first time where Abigail was slanted at being sort of unlikable because they're at the party And he looks at his phone and he's like, "Oh man!" And we find out that he got a picture of his son in his costume, ready to go out trick or treating, presumably. And so he's like, "Oh, look at him." And Abigail's kind of like, "Yeah, I know what your kid looks like. I've seen him before. Like, we're here for this presentation." And that's when she goes into this whole thing about, "Don't worry so much about your kids. They'll be fine."
Yeah.
And he starts to explain, like, "I know that they'll be fine. I know that we'll have other days, but they don't understand that. And that's why they're sad." And she's
It was
totally,
his light bulb moment. Like, he realized what was more important in his life, this business presentation or being with his kids.
so he gives the presentation and he has a moment. He gives a terrible presentation, by the way.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. The audience is not responding properly. Like, the Japanese investors are not impressed.
Like,
and he's doing that thing in these movies where someone gives a presentation or some sort of production, but instead of following the speech that they've written or the expectations of the guidelines of whatever, they go off script. They're going to speak from the heart. But this doesn't land anybody.
No.
And eventually he's like, "You know what? I got to head out. Abigail will take over."
Abigail's going to take over. Deuces.
Oh, also, when he showed her the photo of his kid, Abigail, and he's explaining how he wants to be there for his kids, that's when Abigail's like, "Yeah, I'm actually going to go to Japan. We're not going to be together anymore."
Yeah. She's
And
like,
so she makes that
"Sayonara."
decision. She makes that decision for him.
Yeah, but
He's
it's
like,
so
"Yeah."
weird because she put in so much effort.
Yes, she
Just
was
to be
very
like,
into him.
"All right, bye, arigato, I'm going to Japan,"
She even says, "I think you should be with Poppy." And so when he gives his presentation, he does think, "I guess I should be with Poppy." And he reads, but while this is happening,
So proactive.
What's happening with Poppy is she has tossed in the towel on Halloween. She's going to be at her sister's place while they're trick or treating and giving out candy. And she answers the door, and up walks a kid dressed as a witch and a kid dressed as a spider. They look just like.
Loses her mind.
She's like, "Oh my
She
God, are you
starts
guys?"
going off, and the kids are like, "But we just want the candy." And she goes, "Oh, I thought you were my friend Zach and Zoe, and oh my gosh, oh, I need to get into my costume."
Right.
And
But again, they play
a
that
mermaid
scene.
costume.
Right. But they make that scene again, much like the early part of the movie with the guy with the bad date, with the crazy guy who wants to introduce the mother, where it's like, "Oh, she's losing it." These kids are dressed like those like her kids. They're wearing the exact same costumes.
And she made those costumes, so everything's so similar.
Right. So she's like, "I made those costumes from my own imagination, and here's two other people wearing it." Like,
and you notice that the kids
Valid.
were like around the similar height, same
Yeah.
kind of hair color. Like, maybe they were the kids' stunt doubles. Like, we don't know.
Right.
You idiots! These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles! Search the area!
Right. We
For the
captured
football
stunt
stunts.
Yeah, they had
So-
those stunts with the football, of course.
So she loses her mind seeing them, and she starts talking about the kids, how they're her friends, and she talks about the dad, how good he is, and that she wants to be with him, or she could be with
She said,
him.
"He's totally for me."
That's what it was.
Yeah. He's totally for me.
And then
Gotta run.
she hands the kids the bowl of candy, and then
And
goes
then
to get
she
dressed in her costume.
she has like a panic attack as she's like rushing to their house. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, so many people. I gotta get to Zoe and Zach's.
Yeah, she then rushes over to Ryan's place in her costume, just abandoning the candy to be taken by whoever wants it, which is fine. At the same time, Ryan has headed home where his assistant was helping the kids get ready for Halloween. And at this point, trying to piece together the chronology of the movie, they've been getting ready for Halloween for hours because Poppy's nephews are already out trick-or-treating, and these kids are still at home trying to finish getting dressed. And I was like, how late is it in the evening? And so Ryan shows up.
She's an assistant for business, not for children.
I'm not blaming her.
Yeah,
It's
we've
not
not
her
seen
fault.
that
She did the
character
best
before, right? Like that character was not in any earlier scene.
Oh, she
two times.
was. She popped her head in and she was like,
Oh,
someone's
okay.
here to see you.
Okay.
She let Ryan know when Abigail arrived, and she let Ryan know when a meeting was beginning. And so she's here helping these kids get dressed. And then Ryan shows up, basically just dismisses her. He's like, "Thanks, you can head out. I'll take care of this."
But do you
And
see how he rings his own doorbell?
he did. Huh. That makes
I
no
He
didn't-
sense.
opens it. You're here. You're here.
Well, yes, he runs into Poppy, who now arrives at the house, and they
Which again, the
declare
dad didn't have to do anything. We didn't even have the moment of like dad running to Poppy proactively to show that he has any agency whatsoever. Like you said, Abigail made his decision for him, and then Poppy shows up at his doorstep.
Also, he's dressed as a knight in a costume that's fully fitting of him. Where did he get it? What was his deal? Where did it come from?
Upstairs in his closet.
He stole it from
And-
his nephew.
Because he wore it for like 3 or 4 years in a row.
I assume that meant as a child, but I guess not. So they and what are you doing here? I'm like, well, why are you there then? If you didn't think he'd be there, why are you at his house? And she's like, what are you doing? What about your presentation? And he's like,
I need
don't worry.
you.
Yeah, I need you. He says he doesn't need his presentation. He has his costume, and he was just going to find Poppy. She says, well, I was just going to find you. And he says that they don't need a nanny. They just need her. And he says like permanently or something to that effect, which is just a weird way to use that phrase. And then they kiss.
Smooch time.
The kids see them kiss.
They
And
come down
Zach,
just in the nick of time.
yeah, for this great show. And Zach sees her in a mermaid costume and harkening back to the beginning of the movie, says she must really be a mermaid.
Our mermaid.
Yeah, that's what Zoe says. Exactly. And then the foursome go out trick-or-treating, and that's the end of the movie.
Which was foreshadowed by the foursome going to school in a few
Yes!
scenes before.
Absolutely. Which I thought was odd, because again, he's just around sometimes. The movie starts and he can never be around. But then he just finds ways, which is like, why couldn't you always find ways?
The end.
Yeah, anyway, at the end.
So I didn't hate it.
So
Because
is it yay, nay, or
I mean,
meh?
truthfully, this is the definition of myth. So I sometimes like to include a comment that I call top comment. For me, the top comment was, and I found this online, entirely predictable, but that's what I liked about it. And I feel like that's kind of what these movies are, right? You kind of know what's
Yeah,
going to
it's
happen.
definitely going to be in your rotation next year.
Yeah, it's in the mix. I didn't hate it. Like I said, the kids were good. The acting was good. There's enough likability factor to sort of make up for some of the plot holes and some of the ridiculous, leaps in logic. Really, my biggest issue, and this is an issue with a lot of the Christmas movies, is that the dude is bland. And in this movie, it bothers me probably a little bit more than some of the others because I feel like they try to frame this like a romance between her and this guy when really it's just a romance between her and the kids. Like she
True.
falls in love with the kids.
True.
The kids fall in love with her, and the dad is just a means to an
He's
end.
just a part of the package, you know?
Right. Like he comes with the kids.
Yeah, he
And
comes with
because
the
he
kids.
has nothing to offer except maybe that that special platinum
Where they spent
credit
like
card.
$2,000 at full
Yeah.
Party City.
Yeah.
There is never a moment where we see anything about him which would be like a quality that could find him endearing to somebody else.
Right.
There's
I
no
mean,
there's no hobbies, there's no interest, there's nothing about him
Right.
that is ever portrayed.
right. And he's, yeah, okay, he says he loves his kids, sure. But like again, he's making bad choices constantly. And if not for her intervention, probably would have went down a road, those kids might as well be in boarding school,
Or they might have just run away, with their little like stick and thing over
Yeah.
their shoulder.
Yeah, or God forbid they'd move to Japan with Abigail.
With Abigail.
But so for me, it's like my big issue is that it's a one-sided, non-reciprocal relationship because she helps him throughout this whole movie. Here's a coffee. I made you a sandwich. I help solve your
I guess
problems.
that's why it's called October Kiss and not October Kisses.
Yeah. Fair. But he doesn't offer her anything. Like he's just like, here, have my children. That's all I have to give you because he takes.
Children, Poppy. All right, gotta go to work. Bye.
Yeah. But his life is made a lot better because of her. I don't know how her life is made better because of him. Her life is just better because now she's got kids to pal around with and do, arts and crafts.
Yeah, she got some fun playmates.
That's it. Because there's no point where he ever does anything and she's like, man, that's a cool person. Because with her, she makes costumes, she makes food,
she makes beautiful cookies.
Yeah, she does make believe with the kids. She plays with them great. And with him, there's nothing. He's just this black hole, this one no character.
There is one thing that I'll give it is that, again, going back to the improv classes, like, so Abigail never took an improv class. The dad clearly has, because there's at least one or two moments where, like, there's a scene where the dad says, like, oh, if someone walked in, they would think we were like an old married couple. And she's like, oh, yeah. And she, like, yes ands it, and then he yes ands it back, and they sort of build and play, which is in contrast to that scene with Abigail and the astronaut with the kids, because she doesn't know how to yes and. She doesn't know how to use her imagination. She can't play pretend. Whereas the dad, for all of his, non-event, not being there, the one or two scenes he's in, they do establish
he can do it when required.
Yeah, he can at least verbally, not physically.
He's some little bantering going on.
Right. He understands how to run with the ball that she's throwing. Like if she's like,
run with that football, right?
There was a bit in that scene that really showed me the difference between the Hallmark movies and the plethora of knockoffs that I've watched. Because there was music in this scene. There was a song, lyrics in this scene, which is almost never in any of these movies. If there's like regular backing music, but there was a song with lyrics, and then another song that started, and that's the one he turned up so they could dance. And I don't remember what song it was. It was a recognizable song. It was like a cover of something. And I was just really stunned. I'm like, wow, they actually have a music in this that's identifiable to some degree. And I was really blown away by that, because I'm not used to that.
So what do you say, Joe? Yay, nay, or meh?
It's definitely a meh. And it's there's nothing wrong with it. It does exactly what you expect it to. It ticks all those boxes just like the dad does in that performance review. But that's the challenge with this, because I just double checked, and I have seen over the last 6 years, I've seen over 240 Christmas movies, which is a lot of Christmas. I watched 4 years of those 6. I did the 60 and 60. And you can't keep watching this movie over and over again. And it's watching this one, which was totally fine and pleasant, with some really good performances and an endearing lead, and the guy who's inoffensive. It was just like, you can't keep watching the different permutations of this movie. And that's what drove me to the harder drugs, like the no budget Christmas movies, the ones that are passion projects of some guy who gets like $10,000, or just like these weird movies that are just so poorly made or just barely made. And that's what drives me to those drugs, because this is just, it becomes too milquetoast over time. Yeah. Like as a one-off, it's fine. It's not a bad time at all.
Well, you know what, Joe?
But I do appreciate. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can check her out in her new 2025 movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like a destination one. Something to do.
I think that they're not performers that I get excited about when I see them again. There are, in fact, and so I've seen her in at least one other Christmas movie. She's a cutie patootie. She's a delight. And she was
great.
good at this. And I'd be happy to see her in another movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna actually look for one. I'm definitely gonna search for one to see.
Set in Barcelona.
part one of a two-part movie event.
Anna Kelly.
She's coming here?
Yes. The writer that has Barcelona swooning.
The writing captured the beating heart of the city.
Has two lifelong friends rethinking.
Are you and Nico? Not even close. Do you believe in fate?
Their own.
Wow. So it's a destination Christmas. Okay, those are not as common.
Yeah, well, it's a whole new subgenre of romance, in like, women traveling the world and falling in love in foreign countries that are, beautifully shot, and like, they spend a little money to actually like, they're almost like tourism videos, really, with a love story built into them.
When I was doing my thing, one of the other subgenres I noticed, it was like there was at least 2, maybe 3 vineyard-based Christmas movies that I found, which was not a niche I expected to see.
A what? Say that again.
Vineyard-based Christmas movies.
Vineyard-based. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there were multiple movies set in a vineyard.
And then after you watch the movie, you can buy the wine.
Yeah, actually, that is like a subset now that you say it, because I've seen maybe at least 4, maybe 5 of those vineyard-based movies.
It makes sense,
sure.
Because then you can sell the wine.
Because come on, it's like grapes bring love and wine and vino and celebration.
You're doing a great job of selling these terrible movies.
Yeah, like a good romance.
Are you saying it could be marketing?
You can't rush it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the script doctor, as mentioned before.
I do wonder if there's anybody who loves any one of these movies, right? Like, take any one. Like, is there anybody who's like, I love this one?
This specific movie.
Is it that you love them in mass, right? Like, you just like kind of like collect them, and they're like puzzle pieces, and they sort of like you're taking because you're watching like 3 of them a year. Normal people, not Joe, are watching like 3 a year, and then 3 another year, and then you're kind of like, but you're not thinking about any one specific movie. And like, most people probably have them on in the background or while they're drinking their wine, and that
I like the ones that are not run of the mill. I guess the non
like Hot Frosty, the one that Joe and I watched.
That was
Actually,
a bad movie.
I watched that movie because I listened to the podcast. By the way,
what did you
I
think of it?
literally listened to it. I was like, "What is this movie?" And I watched it immediately. And because I had heard all the critique, and I was just cracking up the whole movie. Like,
did you have a good time with it?
I had a great time. I had a very, very good time, and that lead was so hot. I was like, "Woo, woo, woo, woo."
See, that was my biggest complaint with Hot Frosty, is that I didn't think he was hot enough. Like, I was like, all right.
I didn't think
Did you see that 6-pack? What?
Yeah, okay, sure, but he's like, he's wearing a shirt most of the movie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like when he works at the school, which still doesn't make like.
Thank God,
but that was very inappropriate.
Thank God he wore a shirt when he worked in the school. Well, speaking of all these movies, I wanted to just give a quick shout out to Ashley Williams, who was the star of this movie. I thought it was a fun fact that in addition to being in a lot of these movies, some of them she writes, some of them she produces, and she founded an initiative for women directors called Make Her Mark. So, she's like involved in all this stuff. So I thought that was a nice little
yeah, she's actually
got skin in the game.
An acting family. Her sister is Kimberly Williams Paisley.
Mm-hmm.
Who is she? She's in a TV show.
Yeah.
Yes, and so was Ashley Williams. She was one of the featured non-regulars on the first season of How I Met Your Mother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's been out there. She's been doing her thing.
Yeah. Well, I think I would have liked this movie more if it was a Christmas movie.
But I think too, also, I think maybe this was one of her first movies into the whole like Hallmark.
Oh, was it? This is her.
Array,
it's interesting that she started then with the Halloween. Okay, I just want more Halloween in it. Like, I think that's my like quest now, is I want to see a version of this where the Halloween stuff is better integrated and like more kind of like integral to the film, and sort of brings out a little bit more sort of distinction from a Christmas movie because the Halloween. And I don't know how we do that. I don't know if there needs to be supernatural.
I don't know. The kids could have gotten trapped in some haunted house, and she could have like saved them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll ask you this.
One of the kids could have got possessed
Would it have to
by
be
spiders.
supernatural in order
Now
for it to be
Hallmark
truly
rated.
Halloween?
No, I'm
What?
just saying, because I mean, Supernatural is a big part of Christmas too.
Yes.
Obviously, the most famous Christmas movie of all time is Scrooge, and that's a ghost story.
Oh,
So
for sure. I just wonder, like, what is how, like, because I watched this movie and I was picking it apart and noticing how Halloween was just kind of slapped onto the story.
right.
It made me wonder, like, what would a Halloween movie be? And the way you're describing it, would it have to be supernatural? And if not, what would that even look like?
I think you could fake it out, right? I think you could like imply that there might be supernatural, but then they sort of reveal that it's not. I think you just have to have.
Oh, they could go like the Good Witch, like that series where it's implied, but and it's just very like wispy and you get the vibes, but it doesn't come right out and say it.
Yeah, I think for me, I want there to at least be a little bit of time spent trying to at least mildly scare you. I think there needs to be at least some sense of danger and or creepy, haunting, like this didn't have any of that. There's no moment really. Like the kid runs off, yeah, there's a spider, but it's like 2 seconds long and it's not played for like we're not supposed to be scared. We're supposed to just think, oh, what's wrong with the kid? Like, why is the kid scared? For me, I think what would make a real Halloween romance story is that you mix in some like genuine frights or some jump scares
The
or
dad
something.
runs through the woods to save Poppy and the kids.
Right. Like we just talked about the previous episode of this show was about the Garfield Halloween special. And part of why I think that's a very successful Halloween special is because in addition to doing all the things that Garfield does in a classic Garfield special, they take time, in fact they take like a good 20 minutes to try and scare the kids. Like they're like let's make kids actually scared to watch this and have to like maybe have like there's stuff that sticks with you and chills you and like you think wait, is Garfield gonna die? Like, are these ghosts actually gonna get Garfield? Why is this man so creepy? Like, this movie didn't have anything even remotely like that. So I think
I
that's
think what you're
just what I would
saying
like
makes
to
a lot
see.
of sense. I hadn't really considered the tenet of Halloween is to be scared or be scary.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good, you know, demarcation for whether a movie is truly Halloween or not.
That's true, but also Hallmark is very Halloween light.
Yeah. Yeah. And I I did have a question going into this about whether or not, like, I couldn't remember if Hallmark is actually like a Christian channel or not. I imagine just a lot of good old Christians
I
watch
think
the
that they're a
channel.
little more commercial and like Great American Family.
Okay.
That's like the Christian channel.
Yeah, because I do know that there's still some subsections of like Christian families that aren't even allowed to participate in Halloween. So I could see, I was actually expecting like when I checked for the like to look at some of the comments, I was expecting to see some like angry, families that are just like, not my Hallmark. Like we don't celebrate the Satan. But I didn't see any of
But
that.
as I said, it was also more like in the beginning fall festival.
Right, right.
Very much so.
Yeah, and it seems to be that there's a lot of those kind of movies, which maybe next year I'll watch a few of those and get into the spiciness of pumpkin spice latte
So I'm assuming you've
romance.
watched more than one Halloween movie so far. What's your recommendation for the next?
Oh, I don't know yet. That's what I'm.
Okay.
This is my first entry into the wider world of Halloween romance. So, we'll post this video. I'll leave it open for recommendations in the chat. I mean, in the comment section, if people want to recommend a movie, we can all meet back here next year and we can discuss. But till then, I want to thank Cy and Joe for hanging out with me. I feel better knowing that I got this off my chest. I got to like, share this with someone and not just be like Poppy seeing hallucinations of children that I know in other forms. Um, thank you guys and happy Halloween.
Happy
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh.
Call back. Doop, 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 boop. Yay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We did get a lot of mileage out of a movie that didn't have a lot going on in it.
This is like
Dude,
one of my
I had
podcasts.
notes.
This is longer than the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I tell you that I watched this movie a long time ago? But
Oh yeah, I
forgot?
forgot to make you.
And then I rewatched it in Spanish.
When I was looking for it, that's the only free versions I could find.
Yeah, on Tubi.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. I'm actually gonna watch the Spanish version because I'm
But
trying
it
to
was
learn
funny
Spanish,
because
so.
I also watched it with subtitles, and it was funny that the dubbing was very different sometimes from the subtitles. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's the problem. Like it's
It
true,
was it was very funny as I was watching this on Saturday.
They're like they keep saying cockroaches instead of spiders. Why do they keep saying the El Niño is scared of la cucaracha? It looks like a spider though. Strange.
Oh my gosh, so funny.